Hey everyone, how's it going? Today you're with Alex and I'll be previewing and giving you my tip for this game. Today we are treated to a great matchup as the Atlanta Hawks play host to the Miami Heat. This one is a flip of the coin that could go either way. The Hawks are coming off a good win against the Minnesota Timberwolves. They won 134 to 122. They once again did it the hard way and fought back from a big deficit. They were down early by 16, were able to stay close and find a way to overrun the Timberwolves. Traeyoung was once again phenomenal, finishing with 37 points and he had 14 assists. When they needed someone to step up in the second half, that's when he went to work. He put up a whopping 23 points, had 4 assists in the third quarter alone, and finished with 30 second half points. DeAndre Hunter put up a solid game with 22 points, whilst Collins and Okongwu were good with 17 apiece. The Hawks were great in their comeback, but can't afford to get themselves into that kind of hole again, as the Heat defense is much more harder to score against. The Hawks must be ready from the very first possession if they are to overcome one of the stingiest teams in the league. The Heat come into this one off a great win against the Trailblazers. They won 104 to 92. It was a great win considering that they had no Lowry or Hero and Jimmy Butler was ejected in the second quarter. With those players out, they had to rely on their defense, which did a great job in keeping the Trailblazers to just 36 second half points. The Heat needed other players to step up on the offensive end, and Caleb Martin answered the call. He put up 26 points and went 8 out of 12 from the field in an efficient display. Bam Adebayo was great as well with a 20-point double-double, and he also went 8 out of 12 from the field. That's what makes this team so great. 3 of your best players can be out of the game and you can still play a brand of basketball that can stand up under any adversity. The Heat will need to bring their A game as the Hawks are no walkover. This is a very tough game to predict. The Heat will have to do what very few teams can do and limit Traeyoung. That will be the key to winning this game. For the Hawks to win, I will look to none other than Traeyoung. He needs to go big, somewhere in the range of 30 plus points and 10 plus assists, which is almost average for him. But the Heat defense is a whole nother beast. His pick and rolls with Collins will need to be perfect as Adebayo is so good at reading those plays. Guys like Herter, Collins, Hunter and Gallinari really need to get the scoreboard ticking as there will be times in this game when Traeyoung will feel the heat from the Heat defense. Those guys need to ease the pressure by knocking down their shots. The Hawks will need to be focused on the defensive end as it is not a particular strength of theirs. Butler will be raring to go after getting ejected from the last game. Now without Clint Capella, Butler and Adebayo could own the paint, so the Hawks must at least remain competitive and not allow the Heat to walk all over them. When you play Miami, you must up the intensity and pardon the little pun, but bring the heat. The Hawks will need to come in locked and loaded and be ready for a dogfight as the Heat are good at making life tough for you. For the Heat to win, I will turn to Butler and Adebayo. Without Lowry and Hero, those two will need to go above and beyond. They will need to get the scoreboard ticking over and look to get their teammates easy looks. A few other players will need to step up and knock down some shots to make life a bit easier for those two. The Hawks were able to overrun the Bucks and Timberwolves, whose offenses are much better than the Heat's, so defense will be key for them. We know that the Heat can defend well, so I'll expect them to try and smother the Hawks, particularly Traeyoung. Very few teams can do it, so the Heat must make him earn every shot he takes and try and make life as tough as possible for him. In the last game, he had 0 points in the first quarter and finished the game with 37, so you do the math. The Heat must bring the heat on both ends of the court if they are to beat the Hawks. Like I said, this is a very tough game to predict, but I will back the Atlanta Hawks in a very tight game. I think Traeyoung will ultimately prove to be the difference. If Lowry and Hero were available, I would have gone with the Heat for sure, but the absences of those two will be very hard to cover. The Heat's good defense will keep them in this game, but without Lowry or Hero to guard him, Traeyoung will be able to sizzle and be very hard to handle at times. There will be many lead changes in this game as it will go back and forth. This game could go down to the wire, but without Lowry and Hero, the Heat will be less potent on the offensive end. It's also important to note that Lowry and Hero would have probably had the jobs in guarding Traeyoung, so that also hurts them. This will be a close game for sure, but the Hawks at home, with their fans on their side, might have just enough to overcome the Miami Heat. Look for Traeyoung to shine once again and lead the Atlanta Hawks to a strong win at home. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe, as I'll be uploading videos every day. Thank you for watching.